Hi, welcome to another video from Toga Tech. My name's Dave. Today I'll be walking you through the unboxing of the VRInsight MCP Combo panel. This is a piece of hardware for flight simulators. Works with Microsoft FSX and FS 2004. This one is actually the Boeing configuration. They do two models. One is for the Boeing and the other is for the Airbus. So what I'll do now is we'll unbox this piece of kit and go through it. Okay. So let's just break through the tabs here and see what we got in here. Up here, right, what have we got? We've got get that open here so you can see better. Right, we've got a bag of bits and pieces. They look like there's some spare switch caps and that with details of what the switches are for. That one there says gear off, that one says toga set, etc. brake. Also inside there we have here. Yeah, they're the spare caps or caps for the switches, buttons. Also inside this we've got the driver CD, a firewire cable, oh, and a please excuse me, I have a bit of a cold at the moment. Oh, this is a removal tool for the caps because they can be difficult to remove, and that if you want to change what's underneath them, what identifies them, there's a little removal tool they give there for them. That's quite good. An adapter for European plugs or American plugs there. Put that to one side. Seems to be very well packaged. More packing. Right, let's get the box out of the way so you can see a bit better. Right, what we appear to have here is a very heavy steel stand. This is because this unit can be either mounted in your cockpit or it can be fitted on the desk. This is the desktop stand. Very, very heavy, thick piece of steel there. I'll pop that aside. Right, and this is the interesting bit. The anti-static bag, and here we are. This is what we've got here. Let's turn that around there. Right, this is the VRinsite MCP Combo panel. I'll just prop that under there so you can see it a little bit better. Right, the reason why it's called a combo panel is it's integrated various different systems and devices from the Boeing. This, as I say, is the Boeing 737 configuration. They also do an Airbus configuration. So, right, well, here we are back again. I've just adjusted the camera angle and the lighting conditions because the focus, the autofocus, wasn't handling it very well. As I say, this is the combo panel. We have three sections on the combo panel. This is the Boeing 737 configuration. We have the EFIS control. This is for our radar and our route planning. We've got weather radar, we've got airport positions, we've got waypoints, we've got terrain radar. We've also got our the 4 knobs here. We've got one for setting minimums. This one here is to switch between planned route and map route. Then we have our distance encoder here. This will set the range of our radar. And we have our barometer pressure adjustment as well here on the 4th encoder here. We have then the middle section, which is our main autopilot control panel. We have 2 toggle switches, auto throttle, flight director. Then we have our various switches here. These are for speed of our engines, N1, our speed select, and then we can use the encoder here to alter various things on here. We've got a LCD digital display that will show us our airspeed, our altitude, our heading, etc. all on here, and our vertical speed. So we've got LNAV and VNAV and our flight level change. And we've got another rotary encoder here. This is for our heading and our heading select switch. Rotary encoder here, altitude, and our altitude hold switch. And this last one here is for our vertical speed and vertical speed switch as well. Then we have our command A, B and C for autopilot engage. We have our localizer lock switch and our approach hold. And this is the command or autopilot disengage switch here. Very sturdy toggle switches on all of them. The buttons feel very positive. And then on our 3rd section here, this is our comms panel. We have our standard comms, we have our navigator and navigation radar to set here, so we can set our nav radio. That's got nav 1, nav 2 on there. We have our DME for setting our course. We have the rotary encoder here for changing all the values, along with another LCD display here that gives that, and we have a transfer button. So again, normal modes, you'll set your standby comms using the encoder, and then you'll press your transfer button to transfer your standby to your active comms, and the same with your nav setups. We have a light switch here for day-night operation. The whole panel is backlit, so you can select your backlighting from here. And then along the top here you've got 8 function buttons, which are all programmable. These are all programmable by the user. You can set them for gear up, gear down, flaps, anything you like. They're all fully programmable, these 8 switches here. Right, I think that concludes most of it. Just to quickly go over it again, as I say, this is the VRinsite MCP Combo panel. Comprises your EFIS, your MCP or autopilot controls, and your comms radio from VRinsite. Not a cheap piece of kit. I paid €489 for this, but it's very well constructed, very positive feel to all the buttons. Switches are very positive. Again, it's steel construction, so it's very, very durable. Electronics on the back, all nicely done, all nicely wired. Everything looks lovely on the back there. Got a USB connection here and a 5-volt input here. What I'm going to do this now is I'm going to take this and actually fit it to my flight simulator in my study and install the drivers, and then I'll come back to you with it all running. Okay, so bear with me and I'll be back with you soon. Right, welcome back. I don't know how much of this you can see. As I say, this is my Boeing 737 mock-up cockpit here. I've got overhead panels. Here I've got 2 displays down here. This is a touchscreen display from the FMC. This is my main instrument display. And then we've got the cockpit view through here. this is the top here of the where the MCP goes. What I've done, I've already run my USB cable up and the 5-volt power supply adapter. I've already run those up there. So what I've got to do now is just put the unit in place and screw it in place nicely there. This whole setup here had to be cut down because obviously I didn't have the room that I wanted, but it was a full version of everything by a guy called Mikey. If you have a look at YouTube videos, excellent YouTube videos, Mikey's flight deck, it goes through the full construction of a full cockpit unit here, including all your radio panels and everything, the whole cockpit. But unfortunately I didn't have the space for it. Right, let's get this VRinsite combo panel fitted in here. So let's just slide that in place there. I'll put some brackets on the back here so I can mount it to the MDF cabinet. Just put that in place there. Screwdriver and some screws, and we'll just screw that in place from behind. A little bit fiddly. Last one going in there. Just the last one going in there. Okay. One more in there. One more in there. Just to make sure that's secure. There, just hides that blank space there. Right, I'm going to plug in my external 5-volt supply and the USB cable from the back here. There we go, you can see that it's all lit up already. How nice is that? Okay, then I'm going to put the wing back on the top of this unit here. This closes, boxes this all in here. Put the unit back in. There we go. Okay. That all locks in with that. Screws down there. Put the screws in. It's all tied in nicely. slightly over to the right there. Line all the holes up. Part there, and then there's another section that goes on the top there. Let's just pull that out, which is this whole section here. Goes in there. That's not right. That's it. That way around. Okay, and that just screws down in place there. Okay, just pushes back in there. Lovely, that all seems to be in place. What I'm going to do now is install the drivers, and then we'll test it out with FSX. Okay, be back with you shortly. Right, I've installed the drivers that came with the unit. That's all installed here now, and as you can see, it's got up here MCP version 2 combo, the Boeing configuration. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to shut this down again, and I'm going to start up Flight Simulator Steam Edition, and then we'll log back into this. We'll activate the VRinsite combo panel, and you should see that all the displays on the screen here on this LCD display should correspond to that comes up with Flight Simulator. So let's just close this down for a second. I'm going to start up our Steam Edition first of all. It's just booting up now. Just running some updates on the Steam at the moment. Going to turn off our cabin lights, or dim the cabin lights, so that you've got a better look at the MCP itself, and turn on the back lights for the combo panel. Oh, right, okay, that won't activate until the drivers are running, so I'll get that running in a moment as soon as Steam's updated. Do some future videos with the design and how to make this overhead panel. These are all fully working toggle switches. Again, they're all integrated through FSX with a program called FSUIPC. It's all run on an Arduino style card. It's actually a Leo Bodner input-output card that runs all these switches here. Okay, that looks like Steam's loaded. Yeah, just going to minimise that and then start Flight Sim. So let's start FSX up. FSX starting up there. Should be on my main screen, so we go with free flight. I load one of my current aircraft, which I've got here, Ryanair Boeing 737. I've got a Southwest 737. Let's load up the Ryanair. Once that's loaded up, I shall start the VRinsite drivers up, and that should then tie in the panel to the aircraft I'm actually flying. There we go. So let's start the, let's get a different view on there. Take that out of the way. That's a program called GSX. Excellent program. So let's take that out, pause, move that out of our way. I'll get you a better view of the MCP. Wait for the systems to initialise. That's part of FSU IPC. So let's try and get rid of that first. So got rid of that. Let's, there's our Ryanair. I don't know if you can see that too well on the angle you're on. But, we've got the MCP up there. Now what I'm going to do is start VRinsite drivers. There you go, it's select your aircraft and fly now, so we'll select fly now. And as you can see, it's going along the display here. It's going to find out what aircraft you've selected in FSX. Now saying loading configuration for PMDG Boeing 737NGX. There we are, it's loaded the configuration. I can turn the backlighting on now. There we go, there's our backlighting. What I'm going to do is fire up the flight sim. Just get these right, and the FMC. The FMC up so I can get some ground power on. Okay, so try and see if you can get that in your shot there so you can see that. Try and do a zoom in for you so you can see everything working. Right, first of all I'll get some power on, battery power on, etc. Okay, so with the overhead, battery power on. The simulator's in pause, always froze me. There we go, battery power's on. Get some ground power on. Before our batteries run out. Select the ground power. There we go, ground power's on. Now if you can see this at all, try and point this out to you, the course is 000, our speed setting, our initial speed setting set at 100 knots, and that corresponds to 100 knots on here. Heading 000, initial altitude 10,000. Again, they all correspond to the display here on the VRinsite. Now if I change a couple of them, you should see them alter. So let's change our speed first. There we go, speed is going up. You can see that on the simulator. What I'll try and do is I'll bring up a display window for you so you can see that. Should be able to see that on there. But as I adjust the speed here on the VRinsite, the corresponding speed's adjusting on the flight sim. Take it up to 150, 154, 5, 6, 7. Now if I do the heading, you see the headings changing, forward, backward. I can select heading select. Got our altitude, adjust the altitude. We've got auto throttle switch, flight director switch, all fully functional. If we go over to our EFIS control here, you can see the EFIS, as I change the range of the EFIS, the range control is changing on the flight simulator. I change from map to plan, it's changing, and you can see it changing down here as well on my main display unit down here. You see that's changing from map to plan, change the range, it's all changing down here. And then further along, if we switch to our comms panel, change the view to our comms panel. There's our comms panel up on the screen there. And if I set our comms button here, we've got 128.30, and that matches what's on the sim up here, 128.30. I can change it here by using this encoder and change the decimal points. That's 60. I can change ones before, so it's 122.60, I'll set to. And then you press the transfer, so that's your standby, that's your active. Press the transfer, it's now transferred that to our active, and again it corresponds up in the simulator, you can see on the display up the top there. It's a wonderful piece of kit, very sturdy, all the controls are very positive. You've got your 8 programmable function buttons on the top, so you can set those for whatever you like. Everything works just great. I'm very, very pleased with the whole system. With that control, makes everything far easier to control. You don't need the mouse. You've got all your positive controls here. What with this piece of kit here, the VRinsite combo panel, my home built overhead panel. I've got down here, just move the camera down slightly. You can see I've got my throttles, the flaps, our speed brake lever here. These all switches are set up for the fuel cut-off valves for engines 1 and 2. It's very well put together. I'm very pleased with the way it functions, and I'll hopefully bring you some more flights. I've done one flight for you, but I'll bring you some more flights from this aircraft. I'll contact you, or I'll do another video on that. Again, I do want to do another video. I do want to do a video on the overhead panel, which you can see there. Its construction and layout. Well, thanks again for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, and I'll catch you next time on Togatech.